देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् भीष्मद्रोणतथा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्ततः केशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलम् गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटम् नानाख्यानककेशरम् हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितम् लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरः लेपीयमानं मुदा भूयाद्भारतपङ्कजं परिमल प्रध्वंसि नः श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुवन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः।
ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Namaste and welcome to all. This is a question answer session, and lots of questions are there. I think maybe we should have a few more of these so that everything doesn't accumulate for the, what is it called, end of the year kind of a situation. So we'll try to answer as much as possible, and then those that are left unanswered we can take up in another session next year. Yeah. I'll be looking at the questions in no particular order, so that we don't, so that there is some element of surprise left, so that we are not going one by one and then going down the list and then, you know. And this way, the organizers will be free of the, they will be free of other people feeling that they have put their questions first. Okay, so this way we'll just have a little jumbled affair. Like when you're asked to pick out something, you jumble it up. So again, in no particular order, the one question there is about the Mahabharata. And we find in, not going to read the questions because you already have the questions there in front of you. And so we don't want to take up the time in reading the questions. I will be answering the spirit of the questions which are there. And so the a question about the Mahabharata is as follows: how come we have, people like Kunti, And who is this Kunti? Kunti is the one who is the mother of the Pandavas. And then she abandoned a child in teen age, and because she was testing out whether a boon works or not, and alas it worked. And then she was left literally holding the baby. And then so she set it she swaddled the baby, put it in a makeshift raft, and then set it downstream on the river. And then it was rescued later on by, as we know, by the family of the charioteers, and a childless family. The mother's name was Radheya, and the mother's name was Radha. That is why the baby got the name Radheya or Karna, because he was blessed by Bhagavan in the form of the sun, and he came with earrings when he was born. So he was called Karna. And this Karna was abandoned. And even if we write this off as some kind of a what is that called? Teenage indiscretion or something like that. Still, later on, when she knew that he was her son, she didn't do anything to redeem herself. She didn't do anything to accept him. In fact, she went and asked him to spare her other son, her favorite son, Arjuna. And yet, there is Kunti Stuti in the Mahabharata. And we find all kinds of basically flawed characters. Yudhishthira is another one, and he is hailed as the truthful one. And what kind of a man stakes his wife in a game of dice and then, watches her be disrobed in public without doing anything? And, and then these are people upheld in the society. And this, of course, makes one outraged and angry, because within everyone is a, is a part of oneself that wants justice, that wants unflawed characters to follow. But however, that is not the point of the Mahabharata. The point of the Mahabharata is not to teach us to sit and pray to Kunti or Yudhishthira. The point of the Mahabharata is to tell us that is the moral of epics like the Mahabharata is to tell us that people are eminently flawed, naturally. And that even stalwarts like Bhishma, forget Kunti, even Bhishma and all, they also had their problems. They also, such people, exalted people, worshipped or looked upon by society, had their issues, all kinds of issues. And these issues is what makes one human. They are archetypes. They have to be read as archetypes, not as people to worship. They are archetypes, and archetypes means that there will be difficulties. There are certain types which embody the full range of human emotions. Jealousy, check. Anger, unmanaged anger, check. And competition, check. And all kinds of revenge, check. Different ways of different ways of deceit, fraud, check. Everything, it is all there. And in a way, this should give us solace, and this should give our self growth, our commitment to self growth, a certain direction. It should tell us that these emotions are difficult to manage, let alone conquer. And so these are designed to make us feel happy, not angry. To say even Yudhishthira had his problems. I think I'm not doing so badly after all in life. This is the way to look at it. I'm okay. Even Yudhishthira could do this. Even Kunti did this. Even Arjuna, upheld by everybody, he had his own problems. I think I'm all right. This is the way it so the message is not to, is not to look upon somebody as flawless, because had the characters in Mahabharata and other epics, if they are flawless, then, then we'll feel bad about ourselves. Then there is no relatability. Sometimes, like, we need to relate in these stories. That relatability factor is extremely important, because then only we can see, we can measure our own growth. We can see that, okay, these are, if these things happen to the best of us, then this is the psychological order of the Lord. And the psychological order of the Lord says that this is what it is. And it says that, okay, I'm not the only one with these issues. And so there is some solace. And lastly, I will say that, wanting something flawless itself must be looked into, because this is some, this is the child's view of the world, because the child wants everything perfect, because it is scared that something will go wrong. And for that insecurity, we have, that we have inherited thanks to atma ajnanam. That insecurity, the offshoot of self ignorance, is the one that comes in the way of seeing the jagat as it is, not seeing the jagat as I want to look at it. The view of the child is all, everything should be perfect, everything is in place, because that is its world, and that is the foundation of its world, that everything should be wonderful, nothing should be wrong with mummy or daddy, and everything should be fine. But that's not the reality. And so therefore, the wanting to be rescued by something flawless and etc. is an incentive, is an impetus coming from that insecurity. And so how to overcome that? you know get in touch with that which is infallible, which is Bhagavan, which is the truth of you. And there you can put, you can put your effort, you can put your surrender, devotion, etc. So that is the one question. Then the second one is very interesting, that I'm going to look at, is that, in the Bhagavad Gita, four kinds of bhaktas are described. One is what we call, and we have discussed this in this series, the 911 devotee. And the 911 devotee is the one who has Bhagavan on speed dial. And whenever there is an emergency, I mean, you don't call on 911 to chat with the operator. Okay, you don't say, oh, what kind of a day are you having? I'm having a bad day, and I just thought I would say hi. That is not what for 911 exists. 911 is, is for emergency. So this is called the emergency bhakta. Only thinks or and relates to Bhagavan in an emergency. Then we have Artharthi, the one who makes deal with Bhagavan. Oh goddess, give me what I want, and I'll present you with a wonderful sari on your birthday. And this is, one may say this is an open bribe, but this kind of a devotion is extremely popular, very pragmatic. And then we have the Jignasu. Who are you? And what are you like? And I hear from the Shastra that you are really me. How? And then finally, we have the Jnani, who sees everything, including one's own body, mind, sense complex, as Bhagavan, who is also a Bhakta. So the question here is, I am studying Vedanta, but I'm outraged at myself. I'm really upset at myself that I am just a, 911 bhakta and the bribing bhakta. How come I'm not progressing? I want to be jnani bhakta. But neither bhakti nor jnanam are coming. What to do? Help. Very nice question. And so for that, I you know for that I have to say that, don't, Don't focus on what kind of bhakta you are. And then the author of this question also helpfully brings in various gurus' perspectives on bhakti. One guru says, "What is it? Don't be a beggar in front of Bhagavan." And then, and then Pujya Swamiji has also been quoted as to saying, "Well, who else will you ask other than Bhagavan? Pray, 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 until the end of your days. Keep, pray, 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 and then pray some more." So what to do? And how? Where is, seems to be a lot of confusion in the beginning. Until Advaita is internalized as oneself, until the vision of oneness is internalized fully and completely, one will have parallel tracks going on within. So you go to the temple or you go to a shrine, and what comes out is a lot of wants. They pour out. And then, you know, and then how to deal with these wants. And I want to be a jnani bhakta. That too is a want. Let us understand that first, okay? That too is a want. So here, the thing that is needed to focus on is not what kind of a bhakta I want to be, but am I in the position to be able to witness the wants? If I identify with the wants, then the frustration quotient will be more and more. Oh, I'm having these wants. I'm this kind of a bhakta. I want to be that kind of a bhakta. And all these wants are there. What to do? And then, then we have one more raga and one more dvesha to contend with. What is the raga? The raga is I want to be a particular kind of a bhakta. And the dvesha is I don't want to have these other wants. Who says that you are the wants? You are not the sum total of your wants or of your don't wants. So the key here to this supposed impasse, because it's not really an impasse, and the key here is to understand that the wants are coming from a place where you are not. And yes, there seems to be a little bit of a disconnect between myself as whole, wholesome, limitless, free, and these wants. But the first step is here into having some space between yourself and the wanting person. Observe the wanting person, love up the wanting person, like the mother would a wanting child, a child needing attention, a child wanting this, that, or the other. He's just loved up by the mother. Similarly, love yourself up for this, for these wants. And then, continue to study. And in the studies, there may be some, what is that called? Difficulties. There may be some pratibandhas, obstacles. And for those obstacles, to neutralize those obstacles, then it is okay to pray. It is okay to have those, to have that. Uh, to have that as a way, because prayer after all is a karma, and to have that as the as a way to get to get uh, what is that, to get some clarity, to get some grace, etc., etc. It's okay to pray, and it's okay to do that. And then that leads a very nice segue, that makes a very nice segue to another question on the, where I have been asked to elaborate on the concept of grace, prayer, and karma phala. And this is something which is very beautiful. Every action has a result. Prayer is an action. Prayer also has a result. And then so what is this prayer? Prayer is to help get rid of old karmas that come in the way of whatever one's goals are, purushartha. One's goals may be to succeed in certain ways, to have some kinds of whatever, and then the prayer helps with that. Why? Because what is coming in the way are the effects of previous karma. Even in the pratibandha, obstacle to shravanam, previous karma is to blame. Previous karma is called adrishta because you don't see it coming. It is invisible. And the effects of prayer also adrishta. So then it is like being inoculated against the virus of karma phala from this or other lives. And then certain situations require extra prayer. It can be, it can be compared to a booster shot. Yeah, extra prayer. And you just need to help yourself with a little more so that you are inoculated. That's all it is. So the antibodies created from the action called prayer nullify, neutralize the offending karmas and karma phalas standing under the account. And that is what is called grace. Grace is not something that falls from the sky. Grace is earned. It is tapped into. It is tapped into, and then this is what is going to happen. And then so then what else? Another one is this, that why can't I have moksha and swarga simultaneously? Swarga means heaven, heaven like existence. After, of course, heaven means not here. After death is what one is talking about. So, why can't I go to heaven? After all, I have been vegetarian all my life and I have done all kinds of good things and I have given up so many things that I wanted to do, I didn't do. Then why should I just get moksha straight away and forego heaven? And why get moksha only here in this human body? Why can't I just become a celestial? And why is Vedanta so partial? Only here you can get moksha, or you meditate for 12 hours a day, and for the other 12 hours you keep on putting ghee in the yajna, and then you do what is it called? Jnana karma samuchaya, a meditation. Jnana here is not knowledge, okay? Meditation and karma will take, if it's done correctly, okay, will take you to a place called Brahmaloka, and where you sit on a cloud, that is your asana, and then Brahmaji will teach, and and also hold Q and A sessions for you, okay, and much like this one. And then why only those two places? Naraka, this person doesn't want to go, so that is not discussed. But why not in Swarga? Why can't I just have a wonderful stroll, a chai with Indra, and a little cha 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 with Urvashi and Rambha, heavenly nymphs, okay? And then why can't I also be taught Atma Jnanam? Very nice question. Well, this is because the what is that? In Swarga, what do you go? What takes you to Swarga? Punya, and then therefore it is what is that called? Bhoga Sharira, a body that is made only for bhoga, enjoyment and experiencership. That is what the body is for. It is not, yoga sharira. It is not yoga sharira. It is a bhoga sharira. You go there to enjoy. It's like saying, I'm going to a five-star hotel in order to meditate. Why can't I meditate in a five-star hotel? Because that's not the reason to go there to meditate. You just meditate. There is other places to meditate. There are gardens, there are, little thickets and sacred groves, and even in your own home you can meditate. Five-star hotel, you go to enjoy. Oh, there is a show here. Oh, there is a multiplex there. Oh, there are restaurant here. And oh, the five-star hotel is connected to a mall from the back. And then I can just do all kinds of things. That is what Swarga is. Swarga is like a vast place of enjoyment. So you go there to enjoy, and so therefore you and also another reason in Swarga it is difficult to gain Atma Jnanam. I wouldn't say impossible, but I would say extremely difficult. Why? Because we hear stories of Indra, etc., gaining Atmajnanam in the various celestial realms. So then maybe that possibility is there. There is an exception there. So it is very difficult, I would say, for Atmajnanam to come in Swarga, primarily because the you know the of course the antakarana, the mind is not there to gain this. And also the usually the entry into Vedanta Shastra is due to certain difficulties. When one understands, one is not in control of anything. Nobody comes to Vedanta as the first choice. It's always, or almost always, the last choice. Nothing works. Starting with the marriage and starting with parenting the teenagers, and nothing is working. Then you say, okay, I will try this one. It is always the last resort. And in Swarga, where is the impetus? Everything is going swimmingly well. Every day the weather is, custom made. 75 degrees by day and 68 by night. What is the impetus? And then nobody is mad at you. And you are not mad at anybody. Why? Because the core issues are put on hold. Core issues put on hold. You don't have core issues in heaven. They are held in abeyance till you come out, so that you can enjoy. So you're not jealous, you're not angry, you're not mad for most part. And then you're there. And then, so what is the impetus to study? There is no impetus to study. So human birth must be there. It's a Mishra birth. In fact, the last name in India is Mishra. It should be everybody's last name. Why? Because it's a Mishra mix up of Papa and Punya. So the mix up of Papa and Punya gives you this body. And then sometimes you have to say, ow, 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 in order to qualify for this knowledge. And then at other times, things are going well. And then as soon as you say, excuse me, things are going very well, I don't need Vedanta, then you get you get a big slap on the back. And then, okay, back to Vedanta. And so like this, then only there is growth possible. So that is why in Swarga, that is why Jiva cannot get Atma Jnanam in Swarga. And Brahmaloka is given as a for the ones that are the most resistant to gaining knowledge here. Okay, if you really insist, spend your time in meditation and prayer and rituals, and then perhaps you can go to Lord Brahmaji and then do that. I tell you, I don't advise this. Why? Because I want to stay in business. No, 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 not that. I don't advise this because it is a big headache, and then going there, one is setting up oneself up for disappointment. What will Brahmaji teach that you don't get here? What will he teach? He will teach Kathopanishad. There is not some other, Brahmalokopanishad there, special one that is not available to us here. And that is what yatha iha tatha amutra. How the laws work here, including the laws of how one gains self knowledge, just like that they will work there also. And so there is nothing different that is happening. So instead of eating straight away, why bring your hand all the way there and eat like that? This seems to be a very indirect way. Okay. And then let's see. Uh, then there is one then there is a bunch of questions about prayer and worship. So must Ishvara be worshipped with a name and form? Why can't I worship the creator at large? Well, because as soon as you're talking about creator, there is already a form, the one that is in charge of creation, from whom the creation has come without really undergoing any change, the one who abides in and as the creation, and unto whom the whole creation resolves, that itself is a name and a form, Ishvara. But then you can worship the creator at large, but understand that it is not without name and form. It already has a name. Ishvara means Ishu Palane, the one that the one that protects, the one that sustains everything and rules, overlords everything. And then with a suffix varach, which means always. Always the protector and the overlord. This is good enough. This is really good enough to relate. But we have the concept of Ishta Devata in order to relate. We have this concept of Ishta Devata, and there we invoke Bhagavan in a favorite form with a favorite name. This is not to do a favor to Bhagavan, it is a favor to ourselves so that there is some kind of a relatability. Baby Krishna. Oh, how can anybody be mad? Here is this fat, baby, buttery baby that slips out of your fingers when you try to hold him. How cute. And then, but all powerful at the same time. And then, so that evokes a certain kind of a parental love, Vatsalya Bhakti. Why? Because that's how it is. You see this, buttery baby, this little butter ball, and how can you not feel love for it? So cute and so naughty. And so that kind of a love, one is familiar with loving one's own children or the children in one's family. One is familiar with that love. And that love is directed towards the that which is infallible, Bhagavan. After all, Narada said Bhakti is Parama Prema Swarupa. That which is, that love directed at Bhagavan is called Bhakti. That is in the second Narada Sutra, Narada Bhakti Sutra talks about this. And so therefore, you make Bhagavan into something that is easy to relate to. And this is very helpful because the potential bhakta comes with a lot of psychological issues and resistance. Lot of father issues. That's why we have goddesses of various hues and everything. Yeah. Shakta bhakti, Shakta worship, so many things are there. Okay, mother issues. Okay, no problem. That's why we have Bhagavan, we have Vishnu, we have Shiva, we have Ganesha, we have all kinds of, all kinds of things. Of course, they all come together. There is no masculine, feminine, but for the sake of relating, to bypass those issues in the beginning, we have this option. But what if I have mother and father issues? Don't worry, that's why every Bhagavan has some mascot. There is a little mouse, there is a peacock, there is a tiger. Something is there to relate to. Very, very nice. And so, this way you make that relationship real. And to make the relationship real, there is that relatability quotient is very important. The more the infallible is something to which I can relate, the greater is the bhakti, the greater is the connection, and the less is the alienation that one feels. The notion of alienation, takes a hit here. Then, on the same note, can you please explain the origin of Dakshinamurti? Speaking of Ishtadevata. Well, what is the definition of Dakshinamurti? That which does not have an origin is Dakshinamurti. Yeah, a very original definition. Okay, that which does not have an origin is Dakshinamurti, and so therefore that Dakshinamurti in the form of Bhagavan as the teacher, Adi Guru. Adi means nothing before. Nothing was there before. That Bhagavan itself manifests as the Guru, a delightful Ishta Devata for Vedanta students. To see Bhagavan as the Guru, so first you see Bhagavan as the Guru, and then you train yourself to see Guru as non-separate from Bhagavan. This is the key. And so if Bhagavan is the Guru, then it is just wonderful. Oh, but it is said that he appeared. Yeah, Bhagavan appears as and when Bhagavan wants. And he appeared to these four munis, rishis, who are all elderly. They are elderly because they have been around. They are quote unquote old souls. They have been around and they are old jivas, so to speak. And then there is a paripakvata, means there is a kind of a what is that called? There is a what is that called? A readiness. They are ripe for this knowledge. And because they are ripe for this knowledge, they are, their desire for this knowledge made Bhagavan come in the form of the teacher. Very, very nice. And then, so that is what it is. And then, so then there is another question from what appears to be a sincere student. Not that others are not sincere, but this one is very, very, meticulous. And this person says, I listen to the classes according to the person. The person says, according to me, I listen to the classes very, very, very carefully, take notes, do the needful, and then I go on YouTube and I'm always surprised that some of the things have been missed. Missed. So, what does this mean? I have to keep on listening to the past classes all the time. And then, or does it, and what to do when whatever has been learned, to use the author of this question's word, keeps on evaporating. So this evaporating knowledge, like water vapor, it keeps evaporating. And so what does it mean? So I'm always keeping on listening, and what to do? Yeah, you don't have to listen to the same thing multiple times. Thankfully, our subject matter is such: A for Atma, B for Brahman, C for Chit, D for Dharma. E for Eshana, desire that should be got rid of. And we don't have F in the Sanskrit language, so we can say pa for karma phalam, which again must not be focused on. So like this, we just have a few things. Vedanta teacher is a one-trick pony. Atma, Brahman, same thing we talk about. So it doesn't matter if you missed it in class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4, class 5. I assure you, we'll be focusing on the same thing. No, but I was studying Chandogya. This is Brihadaranyaka. Doesn't matter. The last name of everything is Upanishad. Finished. The same thing will come. Oh, but that had some stories. Don't worry. This will have the daddy of those stories. Don't worry. And then those stories will also have morals, and those stories will also have some kind of a thing, some takeaway. It's not that the knowledge evaporates, because you see, when we plug into Vedanta, we do Shravanam with the, what is that called? As an agent. The Kartritva Buddhi is still intact. So I'm going to catch this knowledge, I'm going to catch and put it in a box and then hold it, and then so that whenever I want I can look, and and the fragrance of this knowledge will come out. This is the vritti, this is the orientation. As we do Shravanam, one relaxes and does Shravanam, and then it goes deeper because it bypasses the Ahankara and the mind working together in order to catch this knowledge as an object. That is very stressful. So, this is a cultivated Shakti, a cultivated power, which just comes with listening. So listen to whatever you can. You don't have to keep on catching up and going, going back and forth to other classes, etc. That's different. I mean, if you want to be a teacher, then yes, some memory is needed, some kind of a thing is needed. But then the impetus must not be to study in order to be a teacher. The impetus is to study, to gain the knowledge for oneself, and then if somebody asks you to share, you share. That's what the idea is. And so this is what it means. Okay, yeah. Then let's see. There is one here, parenting question. Everyone is here to exhaust prarabdha. Applying this to bringing up children, we expect the children to perform well, excel in all they do, and to lead a successful life. And if they don't do that, we get, as parents, should we discipline and enforce the rules? What if their prarabdha is different from what we expect them to be? Very important, wonderful question. How do we know when to tighten the string and when to let go? And then with teenagers, part two of the question, it becomes very contentious. It leaves bad feelings, guilt, worry, doubt, fear, anxiety. How do I feel that I'm Purnam and all powerful Ishvara? Yeah, that's why the children exist to help you grow. That is their sole purpose, really. Sole pun intended. That is their sole purpose, and to help you grow, to help you see the truth of yourself. If everything, as I said, is going wonderfully well, then you don't know where you have to grow. The teenagers are very skilled in pointing out and pressing the buttons you never even knew you had. And so, first, let us be thankful to them. Let us be thankful to the teenagers of the entire world who are doing their God ordained duty, Ishvara given duty of exhausting the parents' karmas, A, exhausting the parents, B, and then leaving the parents exhausted, B, and ripening them for Vedanta Shastra and Sharanagati to Bhagavan. So you see, they're helping you. They're helping you be better human beings, to be better bhaktas, and they are helping you to gain this knowledge. And so this is just wonderful, very, very nice. And then secondly, yes, the what you say is correct, because we don't create the children. They come through us, and then they have their own trajectory, karmic trajectory. And you are just the managing trustee of this child that is gifted to you to help bring up when it is helpless and when it needs guidance. You can guide, you can help, you can direct them this way, that way, whatever it is. And then after that, you have to let go. Why? Because there is some other forceful prarabdha, prabala prarabdha, that is going against. So it's a combination of the teenager's prarabdha and your prarabdha also. Because the kind of santati, progeny that one has is one's own prarabdha. So there is a way, that there is no hard and fast rule about when to let go and when to keep on doing this, etc. But I will say you can let go at 50. Oh, when I'm 50? No, when your so called child, within quotes, is 50, it is time to stop parenting. In Washington, D.C., one, almost 88-year-old man came and said that, please make my son listen to me. He doesn't listen to me. And I said, how old is your son? 62. Okay. And so, so this is the, this is in the Indian scenario. We don't know when to stop parenting. And so, and that becomes apparent, when, when there is some, what is that? When there is some little uh, distance and some space to do that. I mean, think about yourself. How anxious you were when your first child was born, as opposed to when your last child was born. When the last child is born, the child falls off a chair. Oh, nothing happened. The other two survived. This one will also survive. The parents are relaxed. कुछ नहीं होगा क्या होगा nothing, nothing will happen. And because whatever the last baby does has the others have already done that, been there and survived, so the parents are relaxed with regard to the last baby, which makes the other two children very jealous of the youngest born. and and then the other two say, what is this? You have done this, you have done that, all these things. What is this? And you got the best of the parents and all that. And the last child also has its own issues. I can never surprise the parents. Look, I got a prize. Oh, your brother and sister got it 10 years before. What you're showing it to me now? This is the attitude of the parents. So, like this, the point is here to have a little bit of space and mentally put the child at the feet of your Ishta Devata every single day. Say, please raise him, raise her. This is not mine. This is yours. This is the reason why in the previous generation, everybody used to name their child some kind of prasad or another. Rama Prasad, Durga Prasad, Krishna Prasad. Lalu Prasad. There is one very corrupt politician in India who is in and out of incarceration. And, and Lalu means baby Krishna. His mother must have been a jnani, took one look at this baby and said, not my problem, Lord Krishna's problem. and so like this is this kind of a naming, when you name it, like this is Bhagavan's problem. So it gives that space. Even in the naming ceremony, there is space. This is given by Krishna, this is given by Vishnu. Ram Dat means given by Rama. Vishnu Dat, Vishnu has given this child to me. And it's very, very nice, healthy, extremely healthy. And so we follow these practices and we grow. And when we grow, the children automatically let go. And, because much of it is testing. What the teenagers do, they want to test the limits. You say, here are the limits and this is what is there, and of course you have to discipline, of course there is consequences for action, all these things you have to show. And yes, it leaves you with an unpleasant taste, and that's why we need satsang. So that to wash off that unpleasant taste, join a Vedanta class, not once, not twice, regularly. So then here is the another question with regard to what is that? Vanara. So earlier I had said nariyate iti naraha. The one that doesn't come to an end is called nara, human being. What is Vanara? Vanara is a humanoid. What is a humanoid? And how is it connected to this word Vanara? Naro Nava iti Shanka. Meaning, is it a human being or not? There is a doubt. Va means or. So, Naro Nava. So, whether it's a human being or not, there is such a doubt. And therefore, Vanara. Almost a human being. And so that is the thing. So, how do you explain to children? Another question, that the prayers are always answered, because so many times you encourage the child to pray and it doesn't come true. The child prays, "Oh Bhagavan, pass me in this test." And then what? The report card shows otherwise. Fail. And so how to tell the child? Then the child will of course come to the conclusion that the prayers are not answered. This is not just for children, this is an adult. We can use the child here as the scapegoat, but actually this question is for us. So the answer is very simple. What we tell ourselves and our children is that all prayers are answered. Sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes the answer is not yet. Why should the answer be yes all the time? The answer is not yet. Try again. Look for some hidden variables. Try again. Not yet. This is not the time. And sometimes the answer is just plain no. Go do something else. Maybe this is not for you. Pujya Swamiji used to always say that, if you want to be, if your goal in life is to be a telephone operator, the minimum qualification is you should have hearing. Simple. This is what this is what the thing is. So if you want to dance, you must not have two left feet, because it's very insurmountable. And then, if you give the example of this Bharatanatyam dancer who is dancing all over the world with a prosthetic leg, and exceptions are there. Exceptions do not flout the rule. They are there only to underscore the rule. Every rule has an exception. Why quote the exception when the rule is staring at us in the face? So it is very difficult to dance with a prosthetic foot or leg. That she's doing it is amazing. It's great. It's wonderful. Some big daiva is there. Some blessing is there. Anugraha is there. Grace is operating. And then this is what we have to see. And this is what we have to understand, that this is where getting familiar with swadharma helps. And what is this swadharma? Swadharma means that there is some places where we excel naturally, and some places where we just do not excel. If you want to sing and you open your mouth, and then all the animals of the forest join you, maybe it's not such a good idea, okay? And I'm not talking of birds and nightingales, other kinds of braying animals, things like that. Zebras, donkeys, make a beeline for this, the music that is coming out of the throat. Then that means it's time to look for a different profession, different place to contribute. And then, that is living in Ishvara's world as opposed to our own world. We live in tandem with the natural laws, the laws of Ishvara. The laws of Ishvaras include this body, this mind, these skills, these talents, and these limitations. Limitations are only for the body, not for the person indwelling the body. So we respect the limitations. And when you respect the limitations, you find that the answer to the prayers becomes more and more yes, 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 because you are living in the now, you are living in the yes. And that is what we teach ourselves, that is what we teach the parents. And this is what the thing is. Can I narrate more stories about Pujya Swamiji? Yeah, but you have to wait. Sarah is helping me with this. She traveled with me and she took down so many stories, and they're all sitting there, waiting to be edited and waiting to be doing this. And so I'm slowly, slowly working on this. I've only got so far as chapter one, and she's very patient. And so these things take time. Yeah. so many decisions to make, so many what to say, what not to say, and more importantly, how to say, because it should help whoever is reading it. It should help. So it will come when, one of these days. That's all I can say. So it will come. And then, let's see what else. Sometimes, there is the feeling of going backwards instead of forwards. You're treading water, you're not making any progress. There is frustration. Thankfully, it's just a feeling. Yeah. It's a feeling, and it's a feeling that is not helped by living in a family situation or even in an ashram, because there are other egos to tell you that you have been, to point out the unhelpful fact that you have been studying, you have been belonging to the Gita study group for the last so many years, and you still get angry. There is always somebody to point that out. And that also is very unhelpful. So we have some, Swami Paramarthanandaji, a senior disciple of Pujya Swamiji, has come with some kind of a objective markers of how to assess our own growth. So he calls it he calls it, what does he call it? FIR. FIR in India is a police complaint. It's called the First Information Report. No, 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 not that kind of FIR. When you lodge a police complaint, you fill out an FIR. That's not what it is here. F stands for the frequency of reactivity and the backward slide, so to speak, to use the author's, words. So, how frequently do I have attacks of sliding backwards? How frequently am I unable to manage my anger? How frequently am I at a loss of to put into practice the skills that I have learned? How frequently am I unable to command the compassion? And with Vedanta study, the frequency of these attacks, what shall we call these attacks? Anatma attacks. Okay, yeah, yeah. The frequency of the anatma attacks, reduces. Before Vedanta, one was mad, sad all the time, and reactive all the time. After a few classes, once a week reactive, not bad, wonderful. And then feeling very buoyed after this, feeling very happy, but dropped out. Okay, I don't need Vedanta, I'm fine. And then the reactivity increased. Oh, not yet ready. Okay, plug into a few more classes at the Zoom Kulam. Okay, this is how one progresses. So the first indicator is the reduction of the frequency with which the core issues attack. The unconscious comes out without one's knowledge and creates all kinds of difficulties, depression, fear, anger, etc. And one is not able to command that compassion which is one's own nature. Then the second one, I, stands for the intensity of the attack. In the beginning, one finds that whenever this anatma attack took place, one had to be under the covers for a whole week before one could come out and greet the society. Because the one was so afflicted, one was so affected. But now, with the help of Vedanta, the intensity is less. So frequency is less, the intensity of each of the attacks is also less, how intensely it is felt. Then finally, recovery time. Recovery time means before I can come back to myself, how long was it before I could be restored to that place of objectivity? That smiling, laughing, happy person, how long was it to get that back? Before, it would be a long time. Now, perhaps it's just a matter of hours or even minutes. So, this is how one traces one's growth. These are some very nice FIR, you can remember. These are nice, nice indicators to trace one's growth. Then there is a question about sadness. What to do about sadness? Sadness is, comes because, it is already there. It's not that you catch the sadness. Sad situations are there, but the sadness is within, and then the sadness comes out. Sadness is the dearest, perhaps, child of Atma Ajnanam, a very coddled, spoiled brat of Atma Ajnanam. Start to look at sadness in that way. And another coddled brat is fear. Both of them, anxiety and sorrow, are the favorite offsprings of Atma Ajnanam. And so, therefore, one, one has to do what one has to do. And there, and we can look at it, we can look at it, how we can look at it from the standpoint of science and serotonin uptake, etc. And there are wonderful things that one can help oneself to, starting with dark chocolate, they say. Okay, yeah. And then, and then after too much dark chocolate, you need walks. That is another way of serotonin uptake, yoga, walks, all these things. And then seva is a very good antidote to sadness, because it brings yourself out of the situation. Plug into some kind of seva that is available immediately, because that will really, really help. And then prayer. These are some of the some of the things that that one can do this. Um, this is an interesting question. The people with whom I'm related appear to be changing the way they view the world, as much as I'm also changing, despite not attending Vedanta classes or practicing meditation. So, is it because everybody is happy and whole? They were always in that state, but I couldn't see it. But then the author rephrases herself, himself. When I think back about the arguments, they didn't seem happy. I also wasn't happy. How can this interpersonal reality change, to change so quickly? How can this interpersonal reality change so quickly? That is what is called interpersonal reality. Change is the only constant. And why is it the only constant? Because it's constantly changing. Simple. Change is the only constant. And so therefore, this has to get used to it. How to get used to change? Because you catch hold of the one who is observing the change. You are the changelessness that you crave. And then what is the antidote? Start meditating, start attending Vedanta classes, because this is what we teach, how to be the changeless one. How to find the text of the prayer that closed the recent teaching on scarcity, freedom from scarcity. That is, that is a Vedic prayer. Swasti prajabhyah paripalayantam, and you can just somebody can help. Maybe Janani or somebody can find out where it is, and then just type it in the chat pod, and then somebody can help, or Praveen can do some research and give them the Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam and Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah. Okay, yeah. Then what else? More or less, the crux of almost all the questions have been addressed. Let's see, there is one more here. Having a lot of things to focus on may become too difficult to practice. If I ask what is one thing I should remember and practice to bring me closer to moksha, what would that thing be? Well, there's nothing that can bring you closer to moksha, because moksha is you. It is already gained. It is not something to accomplish. But I understand the spirit of your question. The spirit of your question is, so many things, so many sadhanas. Give me one to catch hold of that will remind me of who I am. That is very simple. Shravanam is the main sadhana. Shravanam eva mukhya sadhanam. Atma Ajnana Nivaranaya. In order to remove Atma Ajnanam and the whole host of its whatever, the only thing here to do is Shravanam. Shravanam is a sadhana. Listening to the classes is itself a meditation, is itself a sadhana. This we don't understand sometimes. And so, if there is one thing I can ask you to do, please do that. Okay? Yeah. And Krish says something. What is Krish saying? FIR is a wonderful way to gauge progress. I wonder what is the role of free will versus prarabdha. Krish likes to ask this question, free will versus prarabdha, many times. This is something that he contemplates on a lot, I think. And, it depends, depending on, there is, of course, free will. You're making a decision. You, like, for example, you made the decision to make this comment and ask this question. That is because of your free will. And then prarabdha is, Ishvara Srishti, we can say, your own karma given back to you, gift wrapped, and then that which is coming out. This is, on one level of engagement. Ultimately, the free will is, as though, really speaking, because everything happens within a certain kind of circumstances, not of our own making. But free will is there. There is some kind of a free will. And so one is born with free will, one makes decisions, one is accountable for those decisions, and then one reaps the fruits of those decisions until one gains Atmajnanam. Then there is only Ishvara's will. The Jnani is Ishvara, and there is only one will. Okay? Yeah. That seems a good place to close this satsang on. Thank you all for attending. Another announcement. So this is, this was supposed to be what Bodhasara class next time was. What is that? The Advaita in daily life class. But somehow this today became this satsang. So we will let this be for now, and then Bodhasara will take up next year again. I will send a detailed schedule so that we can look at that. And then, so next week, there will not be Bodhasara class. Next Sunday night at some point in time, I forgot, I'm giving a talk. Instead of Bodhasara, you can plug into this for Gita Jayanti. I'm giving a talk on Bhagavad Gita in daily life. And where is it? I can give you a link so you can look at this. If you just bear with me, I will give you a link. Somehow there was somewhere. Hold on. Here are some links. So I don't know. I haven't visited them, so I don't know. But so you can just look at these links and some Gita Jayanti Summit organized by Swami Mukundananda. And so you can please look at. There is Instagram. There is Facebook. There is a website. So you can look at that, and then you can participate. There are other wonderful speakers. Some of the swamis from our order are talking, and so you can look at that for next weekend. Okay, yeah. And my talk, I'm told, is on Sunday evening, America time, sometime, and you can look at that. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru
Om
Pyo
Shri
Namaha.
Gurubhyo Namaha.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you, Amma.
Thank you.